Darling, good news.
What is it, honey?
I got the raise I asked for.
John, that's wonderful.
I was given a promotion, too. You're now looking at the new vice president of TAG Engineering.
John, I am so proud of you. You see, you are appreciated.
It certainly looks that way, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Darling, good news.
What is it, honey?
I got the raise I asked for.
John, that's wonderful.
I was given a promotion, too. You're now looking at the new vice president of TAG Engineering.
John, I am so proud of you. You see, you are appreciated.
It certainly looks that way, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Darling, good news.
What is it, honey?
I got the raise I asked for.
John, that's wonderful.
I was given a promotion, too. You're now looking at the new vice president of TAG Engineering.
John, I am so proud of you. You see, you are appreciated.
It certainly looks that way, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Hi, I'm David Campbell.
Good morning. How can I help you?
I'm here to find out about my Ford van. Has it been repaired yet?
No, not yet. Actually, it's being repaired right now.
Good. What time do you think it'll be finished?
We hope to have it done by tomorrow morning.
That's great. I'll be back by tomorrow morning then. What time do you think I should come back?
Well, I'm not sure, but we should have it ready by about 10 o'clock. Why don't you give me a call first?
All right then. I'll call before I come.
Well, then I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm David Campbell.
Good morning. How can I help you?
I'm here to find out about my Ford van. Has it been repaired yet?
No, not yet. Actually, it's being repaired right now.
Good. What time do you think it'll be finished?
We hope to have it done by tomorrow morning.
That's great. I'll be back by tomorrow morning then. What time do you think I should come back?
Well, I'm not sure, but we should have it ready by about 10 o'clock. Why don't you give me a call first?
All right then. I'll call before I come.
Well, then I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm David Campbell.
Good morning. How can I help you?
I'm here to find out about my Ford van. Has it been repaired yet?
No, not yet. Actually, it's being repaired right now.
Good. What time do you think it'll be finished?
We hope to have it done by tomorrow morning.
That's great. I'll be back by tomorrow morning then. What time do you think I should come back?
Well, I'm not sure, but we should have it ready by about 10 o'clock. Why don't you give me a call first?
All right then. I'll call before I come.
Well, then I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Kelsey, Clayton,
Yes, Mom.
I am so surprised. The kitchen looks so clean.
Yes, Mom.
The kitchen has been cleaned. The cups and plates have been washed. The trash has been taken out. The countertops have been cleaned. Who did all this?
We did, Mom. Clayton and I cleaned up the kitchen. I did the plates and the cups. And I took out the trash.
Aww.
We both did the countertop. Do you like it?
Yes, I do. I am so proud of you both. Thank you so much for being so helpful.
No problem.
Kelsey, Clayton,
Yes, Mom.
I am so surprised. The kitchen looks so clean.
Yes, Mom.
The kitchen has been cleaned. The cups and plates have been washed. The trash has been taken out. The countertops have been cleaned. Who did all this?
We did, Mom. Clayton and I cleaned up the kitchen. I did the plates and the cups. And I took out the trash. We both did the countertop. Do you like it?
Yes, I do. I am so proud of you both. Thank you so much for being so helpful.
No problem.
Kelsey, Clayton,
Yes, Mom.
I am so surprised. The kitchen looks so clean.
Yes, Mom.
The kitchen has been cleaned. The cups and plates have been washed. The trash has been taken out. The countertops have been cleaned. Who did all this?
We did, Mom. Clayton and I cleaned up the kitchen. I did the plates and the cups. And I took out the trash. We both did the countertop. Do you like it?
Yes, I do. I am so proud of you both. Thank you so much for being so helpful.
No problem.
In this unit, the passive will be taught. Did you hear what I just said? I said, in this unit, the passive will be taught. Now, why did I say that in such a funny way? Let's take a look at that, shall we? In this unit, the passive will be taught. Now, why didn't I just say, in this unit, I will teach the passive? Well, I didn't say, in this unit, I will teach the passive in the introduction to this lesson about the passive, because the way that I said it, in this unit, the passive will be taught, is in fact in the passive, or what is often called the passive voice. In this unit, the passive will be taught is in what's called the passive voice. In this unit, I will teach the passive is in what we call the active voice. Now, you know that the word voice usually refers to the physical instrument of speech, right? You have heard my voice for the past books, and I've been teaching using my voice, right? The physical instrument of speech or of singing, right? We talk about the singing voice. My voice can be high, my voice can be low. Okay? This is my voice. That's the usual meaning of the word voice. In this case, when I'm talking about the passive voice and the active voice, we're using a grammatical term that refers to the way in which a sentence is expressed. You'll get the idea after we go on a little bit longer. So let's take a look at more examples and have more of a conversation about the active voice and the passive voice. Now, what do we mean by passive? First of all, the word passive is the opposite of the word active. The word active is related to the words act, action, and activity. As I said, the word active is related to the words act, action, and activity. This man is active. This man is not active. This man is passive. See him sitting there? He's leaning back in his chair. He's got his remote control, and all his activity is kind of picking up his remote and watching more television, right? Perhaps he's watching a track meet where the athlete that we saw in the last frame is running, right? So we have a contrast here between the active man who's running, who's jumping, who is out in the midst of activity, and the passive man who's just sitting back in a chair, being what we call in America a couch potato, right? A couch potato is someone who just sits on the couch with the remote watching television for hours and hours. Okay, you see the difference between someone active and someone passive. Okay, let's look a little further at this distinction. The active is what does the action. Here, for example, we have this woman who is actively swimming, right? The passive is what is acted upon. Now look at the woman who is here, just floating along. She's just floating along. The one woman is actively swimming. This woman is just floating along, being carried by the current. In fact, this is a very famous picture of the character Ophelia in William Shakespeare's Hamlet, who is one of the most passive characters in all of literature. In fact, Ophelia drowns because she's lying there floating. Her voluminous dress, the white dress that she's wearing, is soaked through with the water. She doesn't even fight it. She just sinks and drowns. The ultimate in passivity. As opposed to the swimmer up there, who is the ultimate in activity, right? She's swimming hard, maybe against the current. The active is what does the action. The passive is what is acted upon. Now, what does this have to do with grammar? Look at these two sentences, okay? The children cleaned the kitchen. The kitchen was cleaned. Okay? Active and passive sentences often have the same meaning, but a different focus. Active. The children cleaned the kitchen. Passive. The kitchen was cleaned. You see that? The children cleaned the kitchen. The kitchen was cleaned. Now, in both sentences, the same thing happens, right? But our focus is different. In the first sentence, the focus is on the children. In the second sentence, the focus is on the kitchen, right? The children cleaned the kitchen in the active sentence. In the passive sentence, the kitchen was cleaned. So, how do we form the passive? Okay? How do we form the passive? Okay, here's how the passive is formed. We have our subject, right? The subject of our sentence, plus the verb to be, plus the past participle. For example, to use our sentence, the kitchen is the subject. The verb to be is in the past tense, in this case, was. And the past participle is cleaned. The kitchen was cleaned. Hey, did you hear that? First, I said, how do we form the passive? Then I said, how the passive is formed. Now, what are the differences between, or what is the difference between those two phrases? The first one, how do we form the passive, is stated in the active voice, right? We have the subject pronoun we, the verb form, and then the object of the verb, the passive. In the second phrase, however, how the passive is formed, that's stated in the passive voice. Just as I explained to you, notice the structure. The subject is the passive, then the verb to be is, and then the past participle of that verb to form, formed. So, the first example in yellow is in the active voice. The second example in red is in the passive voice. We use the passive when we do not know who is the person or thing that is doing the action, or when we do not care. Let me repeat that. We use the passive when we do not know who is the person or thing that is doing the action, or when we do not care. For example, Donna, in the passive sentence, the kitchen was cleaned, right? Donna doesn't know who cleaned the kitchen, just that it's clean, right? Actually, she probably doesn't care who cleaned the kitchen. She's just glad she doesn't have to do it, right? We use the passive when we do not know who is doing the action, or when it is not important to know. Passive statement. The book was written in 1998. Right? We don't know who wrote the book, just that it was written in 1998. The book was written in 1998. In the passive, the object of an active verb becomes the subject of the passive verb. I'll show you an example to make that clearer for you. Active. The children cleaned the kitchen. The subject of the sentence is the children. That active verb is cleaned, and the object, what we call the direct object of the verb cleaned, is the kitchen. What did the children clean, right? What was acted upon? The kitchen. The children cleaned the kitchen. Okay? Now, state that passively. The kitchen was cleaned by the children. The kitchen was cleaned by the children. Now you notice, as I told you, in the passive, the object of an active verb becomes the subject of the passive verb. The object of the active verb is kitchen. In that sentence, the children cleaned the kitchen. it becomes the subject of that passive sentence, right? The kitchen, subject, was cleaned by the children. You see that? Forgive me for getting my big head in the way of the sentence there. Let's take a look at several examples of the difference between the active and the passive voice, or the difference between the active and the passive voices, through several different verb tenses. Okay? For example, present tense, active. The children clean the kitchen. Passive voice. The kitchen is cleaned by the children. Kitchen is the object of the verb clean in the present, or in the active voice example, and kitchen is the subject of that passive verb in the passive voice. How about past tense? The children cleaned the kitchen. In the passive voice, past tense, the kitchen was cleaned by the children. Active, the children cleaned the kitchen. Passive, the kitchen was cleaned by the children. Let's take a look at the present continuous. The children are cleaning the kitchen. In the passive, present continuous, the kitchen is being cleaned by the children. The children are cleaning the kitchen, present continuous active voice. The kitchen is being cleaned by the children. So notice the way we use that, first of all, is, and then being, the gerund, or actually the present participle of the verb to be, and then the past participle, cleaned. The kitchen is being cleaned by the children. How about the present perfect? The children have cleaned the kitchen. In the passive voice, present perfect, the kitchen has been cleaned by the children. Okay? The children have cleaned the kitchen. The kitchen has been cleaned by the children. Now, what about the future tense? As I began by saying, the passive will be taught instead of I will teach the passive. So, the future of our sample sentence, the children will clean the kitchen, in the active voice. In the passive voice, the kitchen will be cleaned by the children. How about the future continuous? This is not used often, but that would be the children will be cleaning the kitchen. In the passive voice, however, the kitchen will be being cleaned by the children. Similar to the present continuous version of the passive voice, right? Which was the kitchen is being cleaned by the children. In this case, however, since it's the future, we don't say is, we say will be. The kitchen will be being cleaned by the children. This really would be used very rarely, only in circumstances where you might be receiving directions from someone about something that is going to be in progress when you do it, Now, when you walk in the door, the kitchen will be being cleaned by the children. Then you go to the sink and turn on the water, something like that. Very restricted application, but nonetheless good for you to recognize. I think it's time to do some exercises, right? Nothing passive about him, is it? He's very active, right? Now, in this exercise, I would like you to change the active to the passive using the correct form of to be. Let's take a look at a sample here. For example, here are our directions appearing above me here. John writes a report. Simple present sentence. John writes a report. Now, a report, blank, written by John. So, use the correct form of to be. What form of to be is going to fit into the blank there? Well, John writes a report becomes a report is written by John. Okay? What if that were in the past tense? John wrote a report. A report, blank, written by John. What is going to be the correct form of to be? Well, it's going to be the past of to be. So, John, or a report was written by John. John wrote a report. A report was written by John. John writes a report is written by John. Have you got the hang of this one? Let's take a look at the next one. How about this one? John is writing a report. Fill in the blank. A report, blank, written by John. How about it? Present continuous. A report. John is writing a report. A report is being written by John. You understand? Let's do the next one. John has written a report. A report, blank, written by John. Okay, John has written a report. Passive voice, a report. John has written a report. A report has been written by John. Did you get that one right? I hope so. Okay, next, the children will clean the bedroom. Statement in the simple future. Next, oh, excuse me. I said bedroom, didn't I? Next, the children will clean the bathroom. Okay? Next, the bathroom, blank, cleaned by the children. What is the correct form of to be that fits in the blank? Next, the bathroom. Okay, next, the children will clean the bathroom. Active voice. Passive voice. Next, the bathroom will be cleaned by the children. How about this one? Then the children cleaned the bathroom. Then the bathroom, blank, cleaned by the children. What tense is that? And what fits in the blank? I'll give you a clue if you don't know this. The children cleaned the bathroom is in the past tense. If you didn't know that, you've got to watch this entire series all over again from the beginning. Then the children cleaned the bathroom. Then the bathroom cleaned by the children. Then the bathroom was cleaned by the children. I hope you got that one right. I hope that one was gotten right by you. Terrible sentence. Don't ever say that. How about this one? The children are cleaning the bedrooms. The children are cleaning the bedrooms. The bedrooms, blank, cleaned by the children. The children are cleaning the bedrooms, present continuous. The bedrooms cleaned by the children. What goes into that blank? The children are cleaning the bedrooms. The bedrooms are being cleaned by the children. How about this one? The children have cleaned the bedrooms. Blank. The bedrooms, blank, cleaned by the children. What goes in the blank? The bedrooms cleaned by the children. The children have cleaned the bedrooms. The bedrooms have been cleaned by the children. Okay? The architect will design the building. Okay? The building, blank, designed by the architect. Okay? The architect will design the building. The building designed by the architect. What goes in the blank? The form of to be. Okay? The architect will design the building. The building will be designed by the architect. Simple future. Okay? How about the architect designed the building? The building, blank, designed by the architect. The architect designed the building, past tense, so the passive is the building was designed by the architect. Okay, let's go on. The architect is designing a building. The building, blank, designed by the architect. What goes in the blank? The building. The architect is designing a building. The building is being designed by the architect. The architect has designed the building. Passive, the building, blank, designed by the architect. Okay? The architect has designed the building. In the passive, it's the building designed by the architect. Okay. The architect has designed the building becomes the building has been designed by the architect. Now, how about this one? The lumberjack cuts down the tree. There he is. The tree, blank, cut down by the lumberjack. What's a lumberjack? Well, you see an example of a lumberjack up there. A man whose job it is to cut down trees. A logger, we can also call him. So the lumberjack cuts down the tree becomes the tree, blank, cut down by the lumberjack. Okay, this one's in the simple present. The lumberjack cuts down the tree becomes the tree is cut down by the lumberjack. How about this one? The lumberjack cut down the tree. The tree, blank, cut down by the lumberjack. The lumberjack cut down the tree. The tree cut down by the lumberjack. Well, of course, what's that? Cuts down, obviously, is the present tense because we've got that S on the end of the third person singular. No S means what? This is in the past tense. So the lumberjack cut down the tree becomes the tree was cut down by the lumberjack. This is actually a very good way to review verb tenses, isn't it? You bet. How about this one? The lumberjack is cutting down the tree. Okay? The tree blank cut down by the lumberjack. What fits in the blank there? So the lumberjack is cutting down the tree is in the present continuous. The tree is being cut down by the lumberjack is our passive voiced version. The lumberjack has cut down the tree, present perfect, right? Becomes the tree blank cut down by the lumberjack. The lumberjack has cut down the tree. The tree cut down by the lumberjack. The lumberjack has cut down the tree becomes the tree has been cut down by the lumberjack. The passive voice for the present perfect. Now, in this exercise, I'd like you to change the active to the passive by using the correct tense. For example, here we have the opening door. So let's see. Someone opened the door. Now, how are you going to turn that into a passive sentence? Well, you remember that the object of the active verb, in this case, the door, is going to become the subject of the passive verb. So we're going to begin with the door, right? The door, and what do we notice? Oh, this is in the past tense. So it's going to have to be the door was opened. Now, we could say the door was opened by someone. But for the purposes of this exercise, let's just describe what happened to our direct object here without having to continually attribute that to someone, because all these sentences are going to begin with someone. Okay? Someone opened the door. The door was opened. How about this one? Someone is pouring the wine. So your job is to identify the tense and then make up a sentence that uses the object of our active voice sentence as the subject of our passive voice sentence. So what do we know we're going to begin with? The wine. The wine is being poured. You got it? How about this one? I'm not going to help you with this one at all. Someone erased my homework. Oh. Someone erased my homework. Active voice. The passive voice version is okay? Someone erased my homework. My homework was erased. Okay, next one. Someone is playing the piano. Passive. Someone is playing the piano becomes the piano is being played. Someone painted the bureau becomes the bureau was painted blue. I should have said someone painted the bureau blue. If you read the sentence correctly, you would have known that. I wonder how many of you said the bureau was painted blue, even though I failed to say the word blue. Okay, what's this one? Someone has written the report. Becomes someone has written the report becomes the report has been written. Someone has written the report. The report has been written. Okay, here's one in the future. Someone will send the letter. Okay. Someone will send the letter. The letter will be sent. Someone will send the letter. The letter will be sent. Someone turned off the light. Passive. Someone turned off the light. The light was turned off. Okay, you see that? Let's go on. How about this one? Someone will be playing music. Someone will be playing music becomes, in the passive, music will be being played. Okay, there's one of those unusual future continuous sentences. Someone will be playing music. Music will be being played. When you arrive, music will be being played. Ignore it and go into the next room. Like in fairy tales, when the magic little man sitting on the steps tells you what's going to happen. Someone is kissing my wife. Passive voice. Someone is kissing my wife becomes my wife is being kissed. My wife is being kissed. I'd have to be pretty passive if that's all I did, is just describe it. Okay, complete the following using the passive in the tense suggested. Let me show you an example here. Here's our door again. Okay, open door are the verb, and in the active sentence it would be the object, right? And we want to put this into the simple past, right? So open door in the passive would become the door was opened. You see that? So I will give you the verb and its object, which would be in the active sentence, I opened the door, for example, or I opened the door. Then the tense, and you tell me the passive voice version of that sentence in the tense described. Okay, our verb is homework. Our verb is erase. Our noun is homework, right? In the present continuous, it was a switch from the other one, right? So now put this into the passive. The homework is being erased. Okay, see that? Homework and erase in the present continuous passive voice. The homework is being erased. Okay, how about this? Bed and make. The tense, present perfect. Okay? How are you doing? Let's try it together. The bed has been made. Donna might say, Kelsey, did you make your bed? Oh, yes, Mom, the bed's been made. How about this? Opera, write, and Mozart. Okay, and this is in the simple past. Okay, we could be talking about the magic flute. Right? Opera, write, Mozart. Simple past. Express that in the passive voice, please. Okay, opera, write, Mozart in the simple past. In the passive voice would be stated, the opera was written by Mozart. The opera was written by Mozart. How about this one? The news and broadcast. In the present continuous. Now, some of you have probably heard about a news broadcast. In that sentence, or in that phrase, broadcast is a noun. Broadcast, however, is also a verb. So, the news and broadcast in the present continuous. The answer is, the news is being broadcast. The news is being broadcast. Right now, this second. Listen, the news is being broadcast. Okay, now, how about this one? Uh-oh. Man and rob. Rob is our verb. And we see this guy is sneaking up behind him, it looks like, right? He's breaking in the window, sneaking up behind him. And oh, now here's a tricky one. I'd like you to put this in the future using going to. Now, I have not given you any models for this before in this lesson so far. So you are going to have to think very hard and put this particular passive voice sentence into the future using going to. I'll give you an extra moment to do this, okay? Okay? Of course, now, our subject is going to be the man, right? The man is going to be robbed. Did you get that? The man is going to be robbed. Oh, look, pulling his pockets out. Looks like that's exactly what happened, isn't it? The man is going to be robbed. If it were simple future, of course, it would just be the man will be robbed. How about this one? coffee and make in the present perfect. Coffee and make. Passive voice, present perfect. The coffee has been made. As a question, you can imagine, you can hear this said all the time, right? Has the coffee been made? Now, how about this one? Bureau, paint blue in the simple past. The bureau was painted blue. The bureau was painted blue. Car and sell in the present perfect. And oh, look up there. We've got a word over the car now, which may give you some help. Car and sell in the present perfect, right? Let's hear it. The car has been sold. The car has been sold. Of course, sold is what's written over the car. Now, how about this? Here's a woman. She's cradling a child, cradling a baby, cradling an infant. And we can see a calendar, and it looks like March 4th is circled on the calendar. So, baby, born March 4th. And that is to be put into the simple past. Okay? Let me hear you. Here we go. The baby was born on March 4th. The baby was born on March 4th. It's a very common use of the passive. I was born on, I was born in, and so on. Well, this looks like a familiar face. Ah, here we go. Now, passive voice and teach. Put this into the present perfect. Okay? Now, passive voice and teach. Okay? How are you doing with this one? Okay, ready? Here we go. Now, the passive voice has been taught. Now, the passive voice has been taught. So I guess that must mean we're at the end of Lesson 8 of American English. Thank you for having been in my class again today. Thank you for studying English here at LEI. See you in Unit 9.